I will never forget the moment I broke down in front of my son's crib. You see, when I was a teenager, I always knew at some point I wanted to be a mom. I didn't know what it would look like. I didn't know when it was going to happen. I just knew it was sometime in the future going to happen. And then the time came where everything seemed perfect. Until then, I was the main provider, and this was supposed to change. My husband got a new job offer. We moved to a new city for it. My work said I could work more remote projects, and everything seemed to line up and be in this perfect moment of it's time to have a baby. This is it. And then nothing worked out the way it was supposed to work out. My husband's job fell through. So it meant we were in a new city and he didn't have any job. My work was put on hold because the projects that my employer thought they had for me didn't come through either. So instead of being excited about this pregnancy and just being happy and enjoying the moment, I thought about the next step, how to provide for my family. And I immediately knew what it meant was that I do not stay at home, because ideally I wanted to take a year off and just be with my baby, just be there, cuddle him, enjoy the moments. It's just be a mom. This sounded so perfect for me. And I immediately knew it was not going to happen. And I struggled with that. I struggled with that because it went completely against what I envisioned. It went completely against what I wanted. So it hurt me. I felt like I was failing. I was worried. I was doubtful. I wasn't sure if I can do it. I wasn't sure if I can be a working mom because I didn't want to. I didn't want to be a working mom. And yet I had to. So I stepped into this role. And as always how I did it, I would push myself. I would just make myself do it. I would make myself show up. I would make myself push through. And I would be sad and I would cry and I would just be like, yep, okay, that's it. Wipe it off and move on. Because that's how I used to deal with my emotions. I would always put everything into other people. I would always put myself last. I would always work late hours. I would even work sometimes through the night to get projects done. That was my identity. That was who I was. I would pour into other people and shove my own stuff into the closet until this closet would burst open. I would be exhausted. I lost weight. I couldn't sleep. I was just not in a good space, both physically and mentally. And that's just the pattern that I would go through. And it was nothing else this time. And it worked for a little bit until it got to me. Because what happened is in my head, I went deeper and deeper down the spiral of not feeling good enough, feeling stuck, feeling lost, feeling helpless. Now, at that point, I couldn't even tell my husband anything about what happened inside me because I was not able to communicate it. I was so closed off, I was so lost inside me that I just went deeper and deeper and deeper. When I was working, I felt like I had to be with my son, and I felt like I was failing as a mom. When I was with my son, I thought about work and how I should catch up on the projects and put in extra hours, even not knowing where to find these extra hours because suddenly I had so much less time with the baby. Everything was consumed, and I didn't know how to be a mom. I didn't know how to be a wife. I didn't know how to be an employee. I didn't know how to be myself anymore because there was so much going on inside me, and I just didn't have time to process any of it. And at one point, that meant that I was sitting in front of my son's crib, and I just broke down and I just cried, and I didn't know what to do anymore. So I prayed. And I'm not big in praying, but I do it when I don't know anything else to do. And that's what I did in that moment. I said, I don't know how to help myself. I don't know how to change anything anymore. I need help. Please help me. I cannot anymore. I don't know what to do. I just sat there and I cried for some time. And I kind of forgot about it because I had to move on, right? And nothing changed. So I had to push through. So a couple nights later, I was laid up at night again. I couldn't sleep. And I decided to watch a YouTube video, and this advertisement came on. and it was an advertisement for a personal development event. Now, I don't know if you ever had this moment, but for me, everything inside me told me this is it. I knew immediately this is the answer for my prayer. So I went out of bed. I sat down at the table. I looked up. I watched the additional videos. I went to the website. I signed up, and everything in me said, like, this is it. I even texted my husband because it was 2 a.m. He was sleeping. And I didn't want to forget about it. So I texted him and I said, can you please sign up? In my head, I said, this is it, babe. You need to sign up. This is going to be life-changing. What I didn't realize at that point was that this event was just a starting point. Was the starting point to making a change in my life, because we went to the event. It was virtual, so we just caught up on the replays after my son went to sleep, our son. And we sat down with our notebooks and took notes and did the exercises. And suddenly I realized, wait a minute, I'm not the crazy one. I'm not the only one that feels lost, stuck, helpless, that feels like she's constantly failing, that is so fearful and doubtful and doesn't love herself anymore. I'm not the only one. And there's a reason for it. And it's the reason that I didn't know at that point how we function as humans. I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. I didn't even know that it's okay to process emotions and to have all these emotions. Because what I thought until then, it's all about shoving it down, right? Shoving it down, pretending like it's not there, and maybe deal with it another day. But no, that just meant shoving it away when it comes up until I break down. That was the pattern I would go through, kind of like a cycle. And then I realized, wow, there's so much more to learn. So after the event, I went to another event. I went to another seminar. I read books. I joined programs. And I learned so much about how we function as humans, how our mind works, and what we can do to deal with our own emotions, our own triggers, how to get rid of our own triggers, how to work through them, but in a loving way, and really getting the lessons so we can move on. And shortly after, without anything changing on the outside, I was still financially struggling. I was still a new mom. I didn't know how to parent. I didn't know how to be a wife anymore. I didn't know how to be myself anymore. So all of that was still given. Everything changed on the inside. Suddenly I was happy again. Suddenly I could enjoy the little moments. Suddenly I felt good about myself. I found love for myself again. It's kind of like I opened up this treasure box that it was deep inside me and it was just buried up with all the stories and all the expectations that I put on myself, that other people put on myself, all the experiences, the past, everything piled up. So I couldn't access my true self anymore. And suddenly this treasure box started to open up. And that's also when I decided, you know what? If it helps me, I can help other moms as well. And that's the moment I decided that I do not want any other mom to struggle the same way I did. I don't want any other mom to feel the same way, because there's a different way. And I know what you think right now. You probably think like, oh my gosh, she's just talking the talk and she's going to tell me I have to put in hours of self-care and I have to invest so much time. And where am I supposed to take this time from in the first place anyway? And I'm here to tell you there is a way. There's a way even when you don't have time. There is a way when you're trying to juggle work and your kids and you feel like there's just too much to do. There is a way. Because I believe in things that are easy, that don't take much time, and that are fun. And that is what I bring to my clients. And I'm here to tell you, and the whole reason why I tell you this story is I want to tell you this so you know there's a different way. You don't have to be miserable. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to do this alone. So if this speaks to you, I invite you to join my free Facebook group. It's a community of like-minded moms where we come together, we grow together. We learn different tools regarding mindset, regarding confidence, how to get rid of our past, how to deal with our own emotions, how to put in routines, how to do self-care, even with the non-existing time that we all deal with. Because the truth is, there's always so much going on. The truth, though, is if we don't put ourselves first, nobody else is going to do it. we are responsible of putting ourselves first. And that is exactly the focus that we put in this Facebook group. So if that speaks to you, please join. I'm going to leave the link below so you can join this community. I go live each week to share tools and tips and tricks that you can easily implement. I do master classes in this Facebook group for free because I truly believe there's a different way, and I want to reach as many people as possible, and I want to share it with all moms. And if you think like, hey, you know what, she's just talking here, and how do I know it works? I can tell you it works because I am living proof with it. I went from feeling my absolute worst, feeling like I cannot do anything, to thriving, to feeling my absolute best. Because the truth is, it's not only the internal world that changed, it's also the outside that changed. It just took a little bit longer. I found the job that I wanted. I actually run my own business now. I have an amazing family, and we are so connected. I never could have envisioned how connected we are. And I just love my life. And I can say this so confidently. And I know that the same can be true for you. And you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to figure it out, because I am here to share with you what works, what's easy, what's fast. So you don't have to go through all of the steps that I had to take, but you can get the fast cut.